Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, where you can also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the media network of Waterford and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television or ONTV. This week, you'll also find us live to tape in the afternoons on 88.1 The Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on the Biff Radio Network. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, and on our website, civiccentertv.com as well, where you'll find more information about My Michigan TV, where you can join us from 11 o'clock to noon for the Michigan Megacast at mymytv.com and learn more about their free My Michigan TV apps for your smartphone and your smart TV. All that information is on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find all of our full programs and each individual interview on demand as well. Then let's head over to our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking and social distancing, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also on the coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we feature articles from journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan in order to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines across the Great Lakes state. Our top story today is from the Detroit Free Press on the COVID-19 front. We gave you the numbers from Friday on Monday's edition of the program. Today, Michigan reporting 1,423 new coronavirus cases and 8 deaths over the past 3 days. The Michigan Health Department reported those cases over a 3-day period ending on Monday, an average of 474.3 cases per day, bringing Michigan to 2,073,010 confirmed cases since the beginning of the pandemic about 2 years ago. And another 8 coronavirus-related deaths were also reported on Monday. This increases the state's COVID-19 death toll to a total of 32,619 confirmed deaths. Of 11,896 confirmatory tests reported by the Health Department on Sunday, 517 yielded positive results for a positivity rate of 4.35%. Data from the Health Department include 307,145 probable cases and 2,806 probable deaths, for a total of 2,380,155 cases and 35,425 confirmed or suspected deaths related to COVID-19 since the onset of the pandemic. That information on COVID-19 from our friends at the Detroit Free Press on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also making headlines on our coronavirus page from the Detroit Free Press as well. The Oakland County prosecutor says, let's stop using the Oxford school shooting suspect's name when we refer to this case. Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald has asked a judge to intervene on a touchy subject, mentioning the name of the Oxford High School shooting suspect. McDonald believes that repeating the 15-year-old shooter's name in court and in the media, other copycat shooters may be emboldened to do the same, given that all the publicity that Oxford has gotten from this case. Her concern about the issue prompted her to ask the judge to issue an order barring both the defense and the prosecution from using the 15-year-old's name during the duration of his parents' case, which has generated international attention. James and Jennifer Crumbly are the first parents in America to be charged in a mass shooting. They are accused of ignoring a depressed son who prosecutors say spiraled out of control and shot up his school, allegedly with a gun that his parents bought him. Quote, school shooters often seek notoriety and attention in committing their egregious acts, McDonald wrote in a court filing, continuing on. The publicity generated by the school shooting notably gives the perpetrator the notoriety that they sought, but also can inspire and motivate at-risk individuals to commit similar acts of violence, and closed quote. By keeping his name, Mom McDonald hopes, quote, to help protect against future school shootings, and closed quote. In court, she has suggested both sides refer to him as the, quote unquote, perpetrator, the, quote, defendant's son, or, quote, James and Jennifer's son, and closed quote. Prosecutors have portrayed the accused shooter as a, quote, disturbed, end close quote, lonely and attention-starved teenager whose life went from having only one friend before the shooting to getting, quote, fan mail, end close quote, from all over the world after the shooting. In an effort to keep the teenager locked up in adult jail, prosecutors disclosed to the judge the boy's jailhouse communications, including one in which he asked a jail official, quote, how do I get my fan mail, end closed quote. The accused 15-year-old school shooter is currently housed in the Oakland County Jail on first-degree murder charges for the deaths of 4 students. 6 other students and a teacher were also injured in the shooting, several who are still struggling from their injuries. Since the November 30th massacre, the prosecution has disclosed excerpts from the teenager's journal in which he allegedly expressed his admiration for Adolf Hitler and Jeffrey Dahmer, writing, quote, when you die, you need to be remembered for a long time, end closed quote. The 15-year-old suspect also described in his journal what type of gun he needed to shoot up his school, and that he would surrender so that he could, quote, witness the pain and suffering that he caused, end closed quote, the prosecution has argued. Through his lawyers, the alleged shooter has pleaded not guilty and is planning an insanity defense. That full article from the Detroit Free Press on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. That article does include the shooter's name. I have redacted his name from the reading of these articles, as I've done in the past. I agree with Prosecutor McDonald, and I have taken this point in reporting on these stories, discussing them with others that we've interviewed, and of course reading off these articles from these journalistic outlets throughout the Metro Detroit area in which this happened, as well as throughout the state of Michigan that have reported, and America that have reported on this, because he doesn't deserve a recognition. He doesn't deserve us saying his name. He deserves to be punished for what he's done, to be put away, to be locked in a cage like an animal for the rest of his life, and live a life in silence where no one remembers him. Everyone forgets him. He goes bye-bye. He stays away. No one remembers him. No one likes him. Nobody cares. That's what happens when you hurt other people. Lastly, making headlines today at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus from the Detroit News. Dearborn police are warning against shooting toy guns at people in a TikTok challenge. Don't be stupid. They may be toys, but Dearborn police aren't playing when they warn kids not to use toy guns to shoot at people as part of a TikTok challenge. Officials say they responded in recent weeks to numerous incidents of people being shot at random by toy guns that fire balls made of water-absorbing gel. Some people were injured in these incidents. The balls are called Orbeez. Police say they've arrested one teen who is expected to face assault charges in one such incident. Quote, once again, we find ourselves dealing with a dangerous trend on social media that has influenced our young people to make dangerous choices that can have lifetime consequences, said Dearborn Police Chief Issa Shaheen in a statement. Shaheen continued on saying, quote, I encourage parents to talk to their kids about what they see on social media and to pay attention to the next inevitable dangerous trend that is sure to arise, end closed quote. Investigators said that they believe shooters in the incident are kids participating in the so-called, quote, Orbeez challenge and posting them on TikTok, the TikTok video sharing app. In the challenge, TikTok users film themselves loading Orbeez balls into a plastic gun, driving by people and shooting them at random. Shaheen said his department has a zero-tolerance policy on such TikTok challenges that endanger the public. Why? Just why? Have your fun. Let the kids have fun. But this is not fun. This is stupid. Don't do that. That should be obvious. Walking around with a toy gun, pointing at people, and then firing it off with a projectile coming out of that toy weapon, while harmless because it's a toy and because it's water-absorbing gel balls. It doesn't matter. You're shooting at people. Don't be stupid. All those headlines on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as those helpful links to accurate information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll speak with Carla Bailo from the Center for Automotive Research about job availability in the automotive industry, followed by Sam Rosenberg, the founder of Share Ukraine and co-founder of Share Detroit, at 10:40 a.m. That's all up next. After this break, this is the Oakland County Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. More information about the program can be found on civiccentertv.com/megacast. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the total number of people employed by motor vehicle and parts manufacturers declined by 3,500 people in January. In February, the decrease was even larger, with a decline of 18,000 jobs. Both figures are on a seasonally adjusted basis as well. Joining us now to talk about the automotive job market and the state of automotive companies given the circumstances of the job market is the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, Carla Bailo. Carla, thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Appreciate having you on. So let's begin with, like a lot of industries, employee shortages are hitting car manufacturers, but also parts manufacturers. We already know that's having a major impact on car sales, particularly for production of new vehicles and sales of new vehicles. But it's also having a pretty general impact on the automotive industry altogether, as people are leaving the industry and those jobs that are now available because of that exodus are not being filled. So give us some insight into the many different ways that this job market as it currently stands is affecting our automotive industry.
Yeah, I think, we have to be clear of all the reasons why we're having, some of the shortfalls in production. I mean, the biggest reason is supply chain. And when I say that, that includes not only semiconductors, but other needed components. We often say here at the Center for Automotive Research, you can't just build cars if you're missing just 10 parts, right? Every part has a very significant role, although we've recently heard, some auto manufacturers are actually shipping some of the products without semiconductors and either giving a reduced price or they'll retrofit it later. There's a number of ways to deal with it, but it's a supply chain issue. That also, in a lot of cases, is being caused by manpower shortages somewhere in the supply. As we look at what's happening with current workforce, one of the other reasons that we're seeing certain areas of the workforce go down is because people can now work anywhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't employed in the industry. It just means they're working remotely or they're working under different conditions. Within the manufacturing plants, though, this is where we're currently struggling. We're seeing three areas where we're losing workforce today. One is just in the assembly line worker themselves, being able to manage everything in their lives, working, having children at home, daycare shortages, a plethora of reasons why folks are finding it difficult to manage in today's world of manufacturing. The second is the skilled workforce, skilled trades workforce. That is one of the most aged workforces that we have. And people are retiring. We know the Great Resignation. They're retiring and we don't have backfill to come in. And just the third issue is this constant churn as we struggle for people to stay for any length of time in any company. We have just, wage inflation and signing bonuses as we've never seen before to get people into the workforce and to retain them into the workforce. People are jumping easily from one position to another for a higher wage.
We're joined by Carla Bailo. She is the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And we've been hearing some stories, too, about those that are taking these jobs. These are well-paying jobs in many scenarios. They're jobs that are open where these companies are very much willing to hire people, very much willing to train people on the job while they complete the job at their current skill level. And then people are taking these jobs, they're coming to work, and they're leaving by their lunch shift, sometimes on their first day. You worked on the lines while you were in college. Can you tell us about the strenuous nature of that blue-collar work, and also why in these circumstances that sudden exodus is something that's becoming more of a commonality, given that often in previous job markets, you would not want to be leaving a job unless you had something else pretty well secure.
Yeah, and that's just, the battle for talent now leaves that door open. So if you start something, you don't like it, it's tougher than you thought, you just go next door and go to a different kind of job. Going back to when I worked on the assembly line, and of course jobs have changed since I worked there I guess it's been about 40 years ago now. When I was on the line, I did not anticipate what I walked into. I ended up getting a job on the medium duty truck line. I was filling rear axles with oil. I was bleeding brakes. I was over grates. It was slippery. After 2 days on the job, my calves were so sore I could barely walk. And I was 18 years old and in fairly good shape, I thought. It was much more difficult than I had ever envisioned an assembly line job to be. And I didn't even have some of the more strenuous ones. Now, of course, rules have changed and things have gotten better, but nonetheless, a warehouse job, assembly line job, it's not easy. It's repetitive work. It can be strenuous on certain parts of your body. And I know what a lot of companies are doing today to avoid this situation is they're really trying to make people understand all the elements of the job before they hire them, because to go through that interview process, to onboard somebody, and then, to actually start them in a training process, to have them leave quickly, it just doesn't make sense. So the more you can let people know what the job's going to be, or maybe even let them trial it, we're going to start seeing a lot of really interesting ways to try to retain people.
So as these jobs are attempting to be filled, and there seems to be some struggles in onboarding people and then keeping them there for some period of longevity when they do take these jobs, given all those circumstances, what is the answer or the current answer at least, for these automotive companies, for these automotive parts companies that are dealing with this crisis on top of supply chain issues and so on down the line, all of which are affecting their ability to output their materials and ultimately continue to run their business efficiently?
Yeah, I'm hearing all different kinds of things, from retention bonuses, from signing bonuses that have some legs, meaning that, you get this bonus, you retain it, or it gets paid over time the longer you stay here. The other is, really changing the way that they're hiring, to have, the conversations up front about what the job entails, make sure that that's very well understood. Continually checking to see, is the shop down the street going to give somebody 50 cents, $1 more? Is there something that I can do unrelated to salary? Because fundamentally, people want to care about the company that they're working for. They want to care about the product that's being made there. They want to realize their company has a social aspect, and they want to feel proud to work for that company. This is happening more than ever before across several elements of the company, not just the assembly line workers, but all the way up to through the skilled trades, through the salary jobs. People want to feel good about the company that they're working for. So are you saying the right things socially as a company as well? Are you demonstrating that in your hiring processes? Are you being diverse? Are you being inclusive? And then the other thing that companies are starting to consider is, maybe I need more flexibility. Maybe in a manufacturing, everyone says in a manufacturing plant, we cannot be flexible. We have to start at 6 a.m. We have to end at 2 p.m. We have to have 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And yes, that's what's required, but maybe we need to think differently and start doing more job sharing, or start thinking about how people can still manage their lives and still have a livelihood, because this is what people are seeking today. So different ways of managing shifts, of helping people cope with their lives. These kinds of things need to be thought about. It's not just, this is your hiring bonus, this is your retention bonus. People are thinking differently, especially coming out of this pandemic.
We're joined by Carla Bailo, the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research on the Oakland County Megacast. More information from the Center for Automotive Research on their website, cargroup.org. That is cargroup.org for more information from the Center for Automotive Research. And so, Carla, the chip shortage you mentioned earlier is affecting output of materials, particularly altogether these vehicles, as well as the staffing issues that are also having a major impact on the output of these vehicles. Eventually, the markets will readjust themselves. The supply chain will get back to somewhat of normality or figure out a way to adjust itself in a way that works across industries, including automotive. When that does happen, do you believe at that point that companies will be able to, given the staffing issues and other issues that are also there, to then output cars again at a level to which they're able to sell more new vehicles and the used car market is less fragmented, and all the other effects that this current market is having on the automotive industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's several elements at play when you say, will they get back to normal? Sure. You know, I think nobody knows what normal is anymore, but if indeed we're able to get the semiconductors that we need, and we know a lot of plants are being built, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Combine that with the fact that everything we purchase today has a chip in it in some way. You know, even Build-A-Bear, I don't know if you know, they had to get rid of their hugging feature because they couldn't get chips. I was shocked to hear that, but it's impacting every part of our lives. The other thing that you're going to see is in the US anyway, our population is actually declining. As we know, we're zero growth population. In this kind of situation, you're going to see a lot more automation as well. So as the automakers shift to electrification and they start to build these new manufacturing plants, we are going to see significantly more automation, more robotics. Because, you know, this workforce issue is so, you know, fragile that, you know, you really need to think about investing more in smart automation, smart manufacturing. So we'll start seeing that. We'll start seeing it make its way down all the way through the tiers. That will help. In the meantime, it is going to be a struggle for talent, a war for talent. And companies need to be thinking about things quite a bit differently versus the way we have in the past.
And how much of an impact, too, does this situation they're currently in with the supply chain, certainly with the chip shortage, on the electric vehicle market? Because that's becoming all the rage. It's something that governments in the U.S. and around the world certainly are very much emphatic about being the new norm going forward in the automotive industry. And given that electric vehicles are electric and they have so many different advanced technological components to them, I would imagine that the chip shortage is having a significant impact on that subsector of the automotive industry.
Yeah, the chips are strongly needed for electrification, also needed for the advanced driver avoidance systems, for connectivity, for all the different kinds of different levels of automation that you're seeing. I mean, the complexity of chips has increased from a very, let's call it, legacy vehicle from around, let's say, 800 to 1,000, and we've got up to 3,000 now in some vehicles. So it's almost tripled. So when you look at that, there's a huge impact for semiconductors. But let's not forget about the other things that are vital for batteries. You've got lithium, you've got cobalt. And these sources are fragile too, where we're getting those, and more importantly, where we're refining those materials. So we need to fix all of those other supply chain issues as well, and make sure that we're looking at every aspect of the supply, all the way down to raw materials. You've seen lately a lot of automakers are starting to partner with some of these mining companies. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented, but you'll see more of it as we seek to secure supply chains.
We're joined by Carla Bailo, the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, joining us on the Megacast. More information on their website, cargroup.org. That is cargroup.org for more information. And given the circumstances, but also given the push, as I mentioned, from governments across the world to make electric vehicles the standard for environmental purposes, for efficiency purposes, and so on going forward. at this moment in time, given the circumstances that we're in and knowing where the industry's at in development of mass-produced electric vehicles, Carla, where do you see in 10 years the industry being? Do you still see that at this point, are you still forecasting, is your organization still forecasting that gas-powered vehicles will continue to be the standard, albeit with greater energy efficiency to them, or that electric vehicles will, over the next decade, be something that does become more of the commonality in the industry and something that automotive really shifts to as their primary mode of production?
Yeah, my answer is yes and yes. But clearly, everybody is investing a lot of money into electrification. There are several countries that are already putting in many protocols about only EVs by a certain period of time. Most of the manufacturers are planning to have a fully electrified fleet, and electrified means everything from battery electric to hybrid vehicles by 2025 to 2030. So there are clear initiatives in place. So in 10 years, you're going to be able to buy some form of an electrified vehicle across the board for whatever kind of product you want. That is very clear and happening. Now, the rapidity at which that happens really depends on the customer. And the customer needs to be assured that they're going to have the range they need, they're going to have the infrastructure that they need, and they can purchase this vehicle at the same price or on par with an internal combustion engine. We expect the cost issue to be remedied by about 2025, and that's predicated just on efficiencies improving, supply chains improving, and also potentially the advent of solid state batteries, which will help tremendously in terms of efficiency and cost. So that is predicated on that. The other issues, the incentives for purchase, the ability to be able to charge it and feel comfortable about that, that's all dependent on how those networks are built out, what kinds of policy measures are put in place, and also just think about the affordability issue today. When you've got the average price for a new vehicle at $45,000, most average Americans can't afford to buy a car today. So we need to be thinking about then what are the other ways to promote electrification throughout. And you have to start looking at the commercial side of the business, the delivery side of the business, logistics companies, and also vehicle usership kinds of services, ride sharing services that allow people to only use a vehicle when they need a vehicle. And that's an entire kind of ecosystem of mobility that has to be addressed.
Carla, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, any other research at this time or any other projects at this time being undergone at the Center for Automotive Research that our audience may be interested in knowing about?
Well, I think, I'd love to come back and talk to you again. We're doing some tremendous research on sustainability, reducing carbon footprint, reuse of materials. When you just asked me about batteries, we're going to have a bunch of batteries that we need to recycle and reuse. And if we do that, then, that helps with the supply chain issues. So we're doing a lot of work in sustainability as companies are really working to improve that carbon footprint. A lot of work on Industry X, automation, additive manufacturing, and of course, lightweighting. When we move into battery electric vehicles, that increases the mass significantly. We need to find ways to bring the weight of the total product back down. So a lot of interesting work on composites and mixed material joining and huge dies. So there's always something happening at the Center for Automotive Research that we'd be happy to share later.
Carla, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. You can learn more information, keep up to date with the Center for Automotive Research on their website, cargroup.org. That is cargroup.org to keep up with everything that they're doing over at the Center for Automotive Research. We'll take a brief break, and on the other side, Sam Rosenberg from Share Detroit will join us to talk about their new effort called Share Ukraine, aiming to help local people support those under siege in Eastern Europe. That's coming up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Achoo!
We've talked to many Share Detroit charities and nonprofits over the past year or so, and now Share Detroit is doing its part to help the good people of Ukraine as they battle on their home front against the invasion by Russia. With us now is the Share Detroit co-founder, Sam Rosenberg, who is also the founder of Share Ukraine. Sam, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So let's first talk about Share Detroit and its history. You're the co-founder of Share Detroit. Can you tell us about the process of you co-founding that organization and kind of the motivation behind founding Share Detroit?
A friend of mine, Paul Vlasic, invested into the actual platform, the technology behind the Share Good platform. And I got involved about 3 years ago in trying to bring it into Detroit specifically. In order to create a community engagement platform and a system behind it to help Detroit charities or the charities in Detroit metro area that primarily focus on helping Detroit communities do good. Sort of like a dating site for organizations that do good and people who want to help them. We try to match people based on their value system, based on their preferences, passions, and things of that nature, so they can find the organization that closest meets their personalities and their life's preferences.
More information on sharedetroit.org, where you can learn more about the 283 charities and nonprofits supported by Share Detroit at this time. We're joined by co-founder of Share Detroit, Sam Rosenberg, who's also the founder of Share Ukraine as well. So what led to the launch of Share Ukraine? Obviously, it's as a result of the ongoing war in Ukraine, the Russian invasion of the country, and the need that they have over there for support. But why this website? Why now? And how does it help aid those in Ukraine?
Well, I am a Ukrainian Jew. I was, in fact, if I should have worn my T-shirt that says I may live in America, but I was made in Ukraine. I immigrated to the United States in 1978 when I was 13-year-old, young teenager. America is my home. I served 20 plus years in the U.S. military. When I got out of the military, I tried to do what I can to help the community that I'm a member of, and Share Good came out of that. I saw the writing on the wall, so to speak, since 2014 when Putin took over Crimea. And but honestly saying, never took it too seriously. Obviously, February 24th was a watershed moment for me and for the entire world, for me probably more personally. So I tried to figure out what I can do immediately to help the cause of justice, the cause of democracy. It just happens to be taking place in Ukraine. And I tried to figure out how I can leverage what I've already done, which is the Share Detroit platform, to do the same thing and bring in all kinds of organizations that are trying to help and kinds of folks that are looking for a way to help. And we created another nonprofit, practically speaking, called Share Ukraine. We created .org. We registered the domain name, linked the two together, and now I'm promoting both Share Ukraine.org and all the organizations that we're linking within that platform. As a result of that, actually a lot of nonprofits that are already on the platform reached out to us and asking what they can do. Unfortunately, besides raising funds and collecting goods that can be used in Ukraine for first aid and medical supplies and things of that nature, and help the humanitarian effort with the refugees, there isn't a lot that a lot of our local nonprofits can do now. But the reconstruction will come. Ukraine will defeat the enemy. It just may take a long time, and the reconstruction is going to be very complex, very long, and very expensive. And this is the time that I'm looking forward to actually working with the local nonprofits as well as all the national and international NGOs, and hopefully doing the same thing that we're doing for Detroit Metro, having Ukraine as the focus of help and a focus of nonprofit and social work going forward.
We're joined by Sam Rosenberg, who is the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on sharedetroit.org, where you can also research under their charities and nonprofits listings for Share Ukraine, or type in shareukraine.org, which will redirect you to the Share Ukraine page on Share Detroit's website. And so on that website, what are some of the resources that people will find on the Share Ukraine website that will be able to lead them to providing aid, providing help to those in Ukraine who are in such great need of it right now as they battle Russia?
The primary, in Detroit metro area, the main organization that collects resources for Ukraine, as well as puts together events, is Ukrainian American Crisis Response Team, and they're prominent, linked in Share Ukraine. And they actually have their own, I think they have their own charity, right, as a separate charity within Share Ukraine. There's also Razom, R-A-Z-O-M, for Ukraine, all one word, .org, which is a national nonprofit that also got started up, I believe, in 2014. That collects, it's a national organization Razom stands for Together in Ukrainian. And it brings resources to help Ukraine both through education, humanitarian aid, political action, and so on and so on. Those are the two organizations that we feature prominently. There are others on the platform. And there's also, if some people that really don't have a lot of energy or time or understanding of the situation, and they just want to simply donate and help, I collect money and I provide accountability for 100% of the dollars that Share Ukraine collects directly through Share Detroit. It's a nonprofit 501c3. And every week I select an NGO on the ground in Ukraine that we donate the money collected for that period to. The portal actually provides that information. Last week we collected a little over $12,000, and it's going to go to Come Back Alive.ua, which is the organization that provides humanitarian aid and as well as the field first aid for the combatants in the zone. The next one is going to be helpukraine.org. These organizations are nominated and vetted by the people on the ground in Ukraine. I have friends and relatives still in the area, and I would communicate with them daily. I'm trying to do everything we possibly can between our communities to help.
So, as you mentioned, Sam, you are Ukrainian. You have friends and relatives in Ukraine who are still there at this moment in time as they fight off this Russian invasion. It's been ongoing for several weeks now at this point. And so how does that help to inform your communications with them? How does that help to inform your actions as the founder of Share Ukraine and the person that's, as you said, responsible for where each of these dollars ultimately are going to these NGOs and to these other organizations that are providing aid? How does that communication with those who are on the front lines in Ukraine help to inform you of where those dollars are going to go week to week, month to month as you're running this organization?
Both organizations so far, like I said, a week ago we started, a little over 10 days ago, we started collecting the money. And my primarily means of communicating the need is through, I started a personal newsletter, I guess, if you want to call it, or a rant. I started it with just my Outlook distribution list of about 1,500 people. And that in itself brought $12,000. And I'm going to continue doing this weekly with a different theme. And those themes that I'm communicating, and they're somewhat reflected with press releases and the contents on the shareukraine.org, are much influenced by the people on the ground. So what's important to them? How do they see the Western support so far? In terms of specifically trying to measure the value of those organizations, the organizational websites which are receiving receiving the funds, they're actually posted, and you can go and check them out. Their accountability is really very well detailed. There's spreadsheets right on the website, tells exactly what kind of items that were acquired for how much. And I checked the information yesterday, and it was as current as the 9th of March, which for real-time reporting is about as good as it gets. I haven't seen almost any other organization that provides reporting within 4 or 5 days of the actual activity. And plus, frankly saying, my friend, who is a retired general in the Ukrainian army, now is coordinating activities of the territorial defense forces. He's got a whole network of people on the ground that are doing the work. So my ask of them is really simple. Go ask the guy who's putting a bandage on somebody's arm what organization he's working for, and then we look to see if this is a legitimate NGO, if it's got some kind of a tax standing within the Ukrainian or European community, and that's about the extent of vetting. We'll look at their financials, we'll look at their past reporting, and I just ask the people on the ground, they're helping, and they're helping, they get the funds. There are other ways of helping, and I'm not discouraging anyone, but if you want it quick and simple and you just want to help, this is a way. Many organizations do well.
Yeah, or if you just want a resource to go to find trusted help that is going to be on the front lines in Ukraine, or is going to be helping those in Ukraine without having to do that research necessarily yourself, and maybe run into some of these people that have been taking advantage of the crisis that's occurring over there in Eastern Europe. We just spoke recently with Melanie Ducanel from the Michigan Better Business Bureau about some of these charity scams that are popping up, that always pop up when there's something that when there's an issue domestically or certainly internationally that people want to help others with. And so having a resource like this, shareukraine.org, where you can learn more information about these organizations that have already been vetted, that are helping people directly on the front lines, that those on the front lines have reported to your organization as being those that are helping, and then you do research on them. It's so much helpful information for people here in the U.S., here in Michigan, who want to help those in Ukraine. We're joined by Sam Rosenberg. He is the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit. You can learn more information on shareukraine.org or sharedetroit.org, and just search Share Ukraine under their 283 charities and nonprofits that they're currently supporting. There are also some events also listed on that website that you can participate in that will also be benefiting those in Ukraine. And so, Sam, as you continue to talk to those friends and family of yours who are in Ukraine and their interpretation of the quality of response from their friends and neighbors here in the West, what is the greatest need that they have at this moment in time in terms of support that they need from those that are willing to give it here in the U.S. and here in Michigan?
I mean, the most common thing that they're asking for, honestly saying, is something that we're not willing to do, which is provide a no-fly zone above Ukraine. This is something that we're not willing to do, and I'm not trying to make any political statements, but they certainly appreciate all the humanitarian aid and all the work that we have done. I mean, there's flights and flights and flights of medical equipment and first aid equipment and medicine and so on and so on and so on. And certainly the humanitarian work that people in Poland and Romania and Moldova and all the surrounding countries are doing is not just greatly appreciated, everyone is amazed in Ukraine. So it's a fine balancing act between being grateful and asking for more. But when it's a David and Goliath thing, it's they got to do what they got to do. And one thing I wanted to add is that the long-term plan for shareukraine.org, because the people that are supporting us, ethnic Eastern European folks, we're very skeptical of large nonprofits and so on and so on. So one of the things we will try to do, and we're already getting the resources to do it, is provide family to family, a person to person type of a matching relationship to where a family can adopt a family in Ukraine to help them with reconstruction. I have not countless, but many friends in Ukraine who life just went to was destroyed. Their apartments, their living quarters, everything that they've built up and were hoping to save for their children disappeared. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunity to help these folks one-on-one, family to family, without any kind of intermediaries, with administrative and marketing costs and all this other stuff. And really, that's what I want to do. I want to provide the most efficient mechanism where people can help and see the results of their help.
We're joined by Sam Rosenberg, the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit. More information either on sharedetroit.org or go directly to their Share Ukraine page at shareukraine.org to learn more information about different organizations that you can provide donations to, about volunteer opportunities here in the local area, and events that will be benefiting those in Ukraine as they fight the Russians who have been invading their country for many weeks now. Sam, just another couple of minutes before we'll need to say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about Share Ukraine or ways that they can help?
Important not, but I can make a plea. We living in the West have very short memories when it comes to these type of conflicts, unfortunately. I personally believe this is 1936 all over again. And if we thought about it, what could we have done in 1936 if we knew what's going to happen? Certainly, it's not just a theatrical statement. We don't know what's going to happen, but it certainly looks, feels, and feels similarly to that. I hope that this is not another World War II, i.e. World War III. I hope we won't have another Holocaust, but it's certainly looking as we would. It just happens to be not for Jews, but for Ukrainians. It doesn't matter who the people are. People are people, and we should value all life equally. I just ask that we never forget what's happening today. So if you have a chance, influence your local officials, try to change some street names, park names to reflect the city names that are probably no longer in existence today, whether it's Kharkiv, whether it's Kherson or Sochi or whatever that may be I apologize about Sochi. Sochi is in Russia. But this way our kids, when they look at this funny park name Kherson, and they're going to say, Mom, what the heck is Kherson? And you can explain to your kids there was a war, the city was destroyed, occupied by the Russians, and this will live in our memories, not because we want to remember the negative things, it's because we don't want these things to repeat. We could have put an end to it in 2014. Now we live with the consequences. That's what I wanted to appeal to people with.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your listeners.
We as Michiganders
appreciate having you on.
Connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information about our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV, otherwise known as My. Joining us now is photographer Monica Mazzotto, whose latest photo exhibit is called Visions of Detroit. Monica, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first, tell us about your background and how you came to grow a passion for photography and then turn that into a career.
So yes, since I was a child, I was also so in love with animals. So I really was intrigued by their behavior, and I studied this kind of topic for all the first part of my life. So I became an ethologist, and I obtained a PhD on animal behavior because that was what interested most. At the same time, I was always interested also by photography because it's a kind of expression that was perfect for me. And I think that ethology and photography have many points in common. The most important is that when you observe an animal and you try to understand their behavior, you train your brain to see some particular that maybe other people didn't notice. So photography is also that. Photography for me is look the world that surround you with an open vision, just be ready to be amazed by that. And so, as you see, I can say that I always been an ethologist, and at the same time, I'm always be a photographer.
And so, tell us about your journey too, from initially living in Italy and eventually ending up in Detroit. How did you end up in Detroit, and ultimately, what has made Detroit home for you?
Yes, so we as a family travel a lot. So the first time that we've been in Michigan was in 2003, and we stayed there in a suburb of Detroit for a couple of years. Then we moved back to Italy, and then we come back again to the United States, again in a suburb of Detroit. All this time was for my husband's work, and I was very happy to join this kind of living, because I love to move, I love to change place where I live, because it's a chance to know new people, new culture, different place, and different news. So I was very happy. I was lucky because I was doing the work. I was a scientific and a journalist, so I worked for a newspaper and magazine. And I was able to continue my work also if I was moving all around the world. And then we moved back to Europe. We lived a couple of years in Paris. And then now we come back again for the third time in the United States, but now in Chicago. So I enjoyed so much the 4 years that I lived near Detroit, because it was an amazing experience. Really enjoyed a lot.
We're joined by Monica Mazzotto, photographer, joining us on the Megacast. Her current exhibit is Visions of Detroit, which is exploring the city of Detroit and what makes its identity unique. Every city, especially these major cities, tend to have their own personality in the architecture and the people and the behavior of the community and the way that everything sort of intertwines. And with your interest in nature previously, that led to your passion for photography being so, what about the city of Detroit interested you in creating an entire exhibit of photography about the identity of the city and how the city works through a visual medium?
Yeah, sure. So for me, Detroit was always very an amazing city, because I love the passion that Detroit has and the proudness. And despite all the problems that the city has, it's a city that always stand up and go on. And I love this kind of vitality. When vision of Detroit, it's a particular vision that I have of Detroit, because it's about an abandoned place that Detroit was. Now a little bit less, but was in like 2014, 2015, was very rich about this place. So Vision of Detroit is a project that was born from all these pictures that I take in this place, abandoned place, all around Detroit. This place amazed me because it was really love at first sight when I start looking at that, because I dislike the perfection. I prefer to find beauty in an unconventional way. So not the typical things that everybody likes. So I prefer these things that are more strange or not so common. So I found this place really beautiful. The problem was that when I come back, I found that looking back to my photo, there was a little bit of absence of vitality, because as I told you, I feel that Detroit is it's a powerful city, so it has a lot of energy, positive energy, also in those places. But when I come back and look at that photo, I didn't find this energy, this vitality. That's why I thought, since I am an ethologist, since I love animals, and since I look at the animal very peaceful for me, just to add this animal. And that's why Vision of Detroit, the project was born.
And so among the animals that you did add into these photos of these abandoned buildings in Detroit, in your Visions of Detroit exhibit, included lions, penguins, flamingos, and other animals as well. And a lot of those animals that I listed there and that are in these photos are animals that have either a lot of personality, a lot of color, a lot of energy to them, and either just the composition of their natural bodies as those particular animals, or in the way that they behave. What ultimately went into the choices of these specific animals in these specific places? Were they placed for symbolic reasons? Was it an aesthetic reason? A combination of both?
Really good question. Yes, both. So since I know the animal behavior, so I know every animal how they are, I just feel that some species was just perfect for that environment. Let's say the artwork that is called The Party, where a lot of the flamingos are in a factory. That's because I know that they love to hang with a group, They are social animals, so they will be very happy to have a party inside a factory. In some other case, they are symbolic, like Torino. It's another artwork where is a bull inside church. This bull, it represents a city where I live in Italy that is called in this way, Torino, because in Italy, the name of the bull is a toro. So that's why I call this artwork in this way, and that's why I put this animal in that environment. So in some cases are symbolic, in some case it's just because I feel that that animal will perfectly fit in this environment.
We're joined by Monica Mazzotto, a photographer whose latest exhibit is Visions of Detroit. You can learn more by visiting her Instagram at MoMazPhoto, M-O-M-A-Z Photo on Instagram, M-O-M-A-Z Photo, to view the photography from her artwork down in the city of Detroit, and includes adding these animals into these visuals of abandoned buildings and other locations in the city of Detroit, and telling a story through the visuals of these different places, but also through animals in this photography project. Really interesting stuff. Highly encourage you to go to Instagram at MoMazPhoto, M-O-M-A-Z Photo, to learn more information and view this photography from Monica Mazzotto, who's joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And so art is interpretive, especially photography being that it's a visual medium. It's so visceral, it tells its story, but it also conveys meaning intentionally and unintentionally. So for you, as the artist in this scenario with Visions of Detroit, what do you hope that those that are viewing these photos take away? What sort of lessons, what sort of stories do you hope that they take as being conveyed through your art?
Thank you. Yes. I hope that people that look at my artwork could be reached by mainly two messages, two reflections. The first one is about beauty. As I told you before, I think that beauty can be seen everywhere. You can find beauty in any place. If you change your perspective, you can find also a ruin really beautiful. And that is the first message about the picture, about the photo of those places. The second message is more an ecological message, because when you see my photo, you can see animals live in place where humans just go away. They're not anymore there. The human has left the scene, we can say. So, and this animal seems to live very well. So the message is that all the other species can live without human, maybe even better. But on the contrary, we cannot live without all the other species. So we should take care of the environment and of all the other species in a way that is much better than we are doing now. This is the second message.
And so, Monica, I often find, too, in speaking with artists and in creating art, that you as an artist learn something, too, as you're creating these projects. Even occasionally you learn something that you never imagined you would in putting these pieces together. So for you, as you explored the city of Detroit, a city that you lived in for several years, as you put together this project, as you edited these photos and inserted these animals, what did you learn along the way?
So along the way, the first thing that really amazed me, that the first time that I went in this place, I would never imagine, because we didn't really have a lot of this kind of place in Italy. There are, of course, some villas that are left with no humans, but not really near the center of the city. So the first time that I went there, I discovered a new world. And I never imagined that I could be amazed by ruin. Really, it's not something that I thought about, because we grow up with a kind of vision of beauty, aesthetical vision of perfection, of kind of an artistic view of beauty. And in Italy, the culture of art is very strong. So you're used to think that beauty is something that is perfect. And I discovered that for me was really the opposite. The vitality and the energy that I felt in this place was really big. So this was the first discovery. And then that you need to leave your heart and your eyes just open. That was the thing that I do all my life since I was studying the animal, the behavior of the animal, because you need to be open to be amazed whatever you find. So in the kind of place when I start putting my animals inside the photo, I never imagined that I would like it. It was just like a game. So just putting a penguin, a shy penguin that is walking through the school looking for the lockers was kind of a game. And then I find it was amazing. It was funny and I like it. So the second lesson that I learned, that just be open to what arrives to you.
Monica, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience or interesting for our audience to know about Visions of Detroit or other things that you're working on that we should be keeping an eye out for?
So thank you. Yes, I am programmed to have a Vision of Detroit Expo here in Chicago at the end of May and one in November in Italy. And I'm very happy to bring a little piece of Detroit with me all around the world. So I'm very happy to show also Detroit and speak about Detroit all around the world. It's a kind that I like it.
Monica, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure having you with us as well. You can learn more information about Visions of Detroit, including where Monica will be taking the exhibit next, and where you can find these photos and view the photos yourself by visiting momazphoto.com. That's MOMAZ photo.com, or Instagram at MOMAZphoto. That's MoMazPhoto on Instagram as well to view Visions of Detroit. We're going to take a break here on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, we will speak with the president. We will speak with Jarrett Schlaff, my apologies, Jarrett Schlaff, the CEO of Pingree Detroit, about Detroit products made by Detroiters and veterans right in the downtown area. We'll keep it in Detroit. Coming up next on the Michigan Megacast.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM. Everyone wants to support local businesses, and what's even better is when these businesses create their products in our backyard with people from right here in Michigan. One Detroit business is doing just that. Pingree Detroit CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff joins us now on the Megacast. Jarrett, thank you for being with us.
It's great to be with you today. Thanks.
Appreciate having you on. So we've had you on before to talk about Pingree Detroit, but for those that haven't seen our previous interview with you or aren't familiar with Pingree Detroit, tell us about your business.
Of course. So first, I was actually born and raised in Waterford, went to Waterford schools, went to Oakland University, and the company itself, we're based right here in Detroit. I've had the chance to live in Detroit since 2010. Our company didn't start with the product. We started with purpose in mind. So we started with the goal of making meaningful living wage work in Detroit. We saw a need and opportunity to create that meaningful work alongside U.S. veterans and Detroiters. And so when we started, we were seeking what we could make. At the time, we hadn't made shoes since the 1950s in Detroit. We actually launched the first sneakers made in the city back in 2018. And since have expanded to everything from our junkyard dog leashes to we have wallets, everything made with leather and seatbelts upcycled from the Detroit auto industry.
And so you mentioned veterans being a critical part of that, and that is a really interesting point, is that a lot of these products that you're creating are being created by veterans that you're hiring to fill these jobs when they come out of the service and are looking for that first civilian job after exiting the military and retiring from their services. And so all these products are made right here in Michigan by civilians and by military veterans. Tell us the story of how that effort got started, hiring or looking actively to hire veterans into this operation to create these Detroit-made products.
Of course. I'll start by saying every organization, every business can benefit from mission-driven individuals, especially veterans. So we're thrilled and lucky to have leaders on our team. Our co-owners include veterans. The whole design of our business is really mission first. So when we started and we decided, we saw this as an opportunity, as a need. We were meeting folks, especially even in my neighborhood, who couldn't find meaningful work. And so we decided, what can we create with our hands? What can we make? How can we create a business that develops, advances folks, teaches a skilled trade, and then gives equity? So we actually share 77 cents of every dollar in profit with the veterans and Detroiters in our team. We do free skilled trades training, industrial sewing, shoemaking, leather crafting, machine repair. Thanks to a ton of partners, we're able to do this, and we're really trying to be rooted in the neighborhood in which we're a part of.
And so talk about those partnerships. What are some of those partnerships that allow you to put these efforts forward? Because it's pretty unique in any business, a large business or a small business that's locally owned, to provide that kind of training opportunities for your employees on top of their everyday work.
Definitely. I could spend an entire program just going through a list of all the partners, so I can't do all that. But I'll say a few top of mind. The state of Michigan has been amazing, partnering with us both through like the Skilled Trades Training Fund to give us some dollars towards some of those training costs. As a small business that still some months aren't profitable and year to year are still working on getting that balance. We've depended on relationships with folks like Lear, Eagle Ottawa, Ford, GM, Rocket Mortgage, all these different groups and individuals who have supported us with training dollars, resources of equipment, materials. So, we've gotten this leather, and some seatbelts are actually donated. So folks like Autoliv just donated this. Actually, this is car seatbelt webbing from the company Autoliv out of Auburn Hills that literally donate these seatbelts that we use for testing that we turn into dog leashes, and then the handles on that leather, right? This nice leather handle, that's literally car seats, steering wheel, and headrest leather from our partners at Autoliv as well as Lear and Eagle Ottawa. So with their support, mentorship, financial dollars, it makes our work possible.
We're joined by Jarrett Schlaff, the CEO and co-founder of Pingree Detroit, joining us on the Megacast. Price also a big factor for you on the business side, but also for customers and every product that's being made and being sold. And one of the added benefits of having your products being locally sourced and locally made is you're not factoring in so much of those shipping costs or those import costs as well that often play into the final price of these products and the amount of money that you and then your employees are able to make from the production of these products. Can you talk about the importance of having these products that you're selling in Detroit or out of Detroit also being made in the city of Detroit?
Of course. Yeah. So one thing that's unique about us is we actually source every single component from the United States. It's very, very difficult. We're close to having that across every product line, but things like our leash, right? This is made in America. It's extremely hard to source hardware in America. Our label is sewn in America. Every piece of hardware components, there's only a few things like some of our, or there's a few key parts that just aren't made in the United States. But otherwise, the things that are, we source locally. So we're both expanding, creating more American jobs. We're keeping things local, reducing the carbon footprint, and we can share those cost savings with folks as well. So like our leashes are $29.99, right? It's an accessible price point. We've got, $44 trifold wallets. Our coasters are $21.99. Great gift, comes with the story, comes with the impact with our Corktown coasters. Our mouse pads are, $20. So really a goal of what our cost is to make it, enough markup to cover our lights and bills and have some back to go back to the team in our neighborhoods. But our core focus is being competitive, creating goods that last a lifetime, and then really just infusing that right back into the city of Detroit and broader Michigan.
We're joined by Jarrett Schlaff, the CEO and co-founder of Pingree Detroit, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. So talk to us also about Corktown coasters. It's another great product that you manufacture right in the city of Detroit using products from right here in Michigan.
What's fun with the coasters, we actually just are now in a few stores across Michigan, including the new Meyer Market downtown, the Somerset collection at the Detroit shop, and a few other boutiques across the city that can all be found on our website. And then these ship direct to you for free, no cost in shipping. And inside, the actual coasters, one side is leather, the other side is cork. The cork's actually upcycled from the production of wine bottles, which is really cool. So you got upcycled cork, upcycled car seat leather, united together with our logo embossed. We like to say that, wherever your drink is, you always have the best seat in the house, right? Literally and figuratively. So yeah, the cork down coasters at $21.99. Great gift. Comes with a set of 4, and it's one of our biggest sellers.
Yeah, we just talked to Dr. Mushkin Raji from Oakland University about sustainability, and part of that is taking these products that are being used, these materials that are being used to create products in Michigan and all throughout the U.S., really, and being able to use the scraps from those parts to create other products as well. How important is it for your organization, on top of providing great opportunities for veterans and civilians and for creating these products in Detroit by Detroiters, to also be thinking about the greater good of the environment and the wider community in the future, and reducing the amount of waste coming out of the city that can often have an increased impact on city areas?
Of course. Great question. Starting off, we're all literally in this together. So understanding that when stuff goes to landfill, it doesn't just go away. There's no such thing as a way. A way is some person's backyard. A way is our watershed. So as much as we can keep out of the landfill, we can work towards creating this circular economy where if we design and engineer products so that at the end of the useful life of that, it can be recycled, upcycled, turning into something else, then we've done a good job. And so at Pingree, our goal is to be 100% waste-free. We've actually diverted over 17 tons of leather from the landfill since we started in 2015. From our partnerships with the auto industry. So we're thrilled to be able to be a part of that journey. We know that there's a long way to go, and it takes time, but we'd love eventually to be a place where you could scan a QR code on your box, and when you keep that box, and 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, got that little box in your closet, and your pair of shoes finally breaks down, or that leash finally is, it's had its amazing life and the dog chewed it up to a degree where it's unusable. You scan that QR code, we ship you a box back, you send it back to us, we deconstruct it and send you a discount for another one. We want to create that closed loop system and eventually be able to, shred that, reluminate it into fibers. There's a way to do it. It takes money, it takes his resources, it takes a lot of collaboration, but we believe we're up for the task.
Yeah, and what's great about that too is that it creates that cycle in the Detroit area, in the city of Detroit, in Michigan, to where these products are being recycled, they're being remade, they're being resold, and are benefiting the economy directly right here in Michigan and right there in Detroit, where Pingree Detroit is based. We're joined by CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff from Pingree Detroit on the Oakland County Megacast. Can you talk about your your home goods line of Pingree products as well, because you're starting to expand your product base out to many different places in the Metro Detroit area, on top of in the city?
Of course. Yeah. So we recently launched our brand new mouse pad, which is really simple. It's double-sided, really, really soft. Great for mousing. We also have a 2-in-1 trivet. So for, keeping the tables nice, adding a little centerpiece for when you're doing baking or outside grilling. We got the 2-in-1 trivet. And then our cork down coasters. We're also designing some other products as well with our home goods collection. We also have our Workfolio journal. That's great to sit on top of the desk for notes. It comes with a pen made by the National Institute for the Blind. It comes with a Moleskine Workfolio. Those are, again, hand stitched. The stitching is guaranteed for life. So when a new idea is inspiring, pull out that Workfolio. You've got a piece that comes with a name. With all of our goods, it comes with the name of the veteran in Detroit who made it and a picture of them with a quote. So you really connect with who made your goods. And when someone says, wow, I like that Workfolio, you can say, yeah, this is made by Nate. He was an Air Force veteran in Detroit.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you can learn more about these products and learn more about the mission of Pingree Detroit by visiting the website, pingreedetroit.com. We're joined by CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff with us on the Megacast. Again, that website, pingreedetroit.com. And so you mentioned earlier, you showed us earlier some of your Pingree Detroit shoes that you're also making from upcycled leather there at your business. Can you tell us about the shoe line, some of the different products that people are able to get through the Pingree Detroit shoes and how those are also produced?
Of course. So a lot of times we've heard folks say that, our goods, they smell like a new car because they nearly were, right? And so with our Mayor sneaker, that's the same thing. We're only making about 10 pairs per month. And so we actually, when we did our 2022 drop on Veterans Day of last year, they sold out in a few days, right? So we literally sold all 120 pairs we can make for this year. We're currently making as we can speak. So we're taking folks onto a wait list. So if they go to our website, they'll see the Mayor sneaker. They can literally add their name, their shoe size. We're also, in the future, might be coming out with a little boot. That's the only teaser I'm going to share. So we're investing a lot into expanding that. We're hopefully going to have some exciting things to share in a couple months with a new partnership that I can't go into now, but it's inspiring us to the moon of what's possible when it comes to training and employment opportunities. And then, across the board, we've really been developing our pet line. So you can see this kind of Detroit made me. You got the Pingree pet bow ties, our collars, our dog leashes, even little things like a waist bag holder for $10. You after you knot your waist bag, you put it right here. So as you're tying this to the leash, you never have to carry a waist bag ever again. So anyone that's a dog parent, dog grandparent, these are a really fun little gifts with a little poop emoji, right? Nice. And so yeah, that's probably been one of our fastest growing lines, actually, our pet division.
We're joined by Pingree Detroit CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff on the Megacast. More information on their website, pingreedetroit.com. That is pingreedetroit.com for more information and to shop online through Pingree Detroit. And so a couple more minutes with you, Jarrett, before we'll say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know, or anything else we should be on the lookout for on your website or at your physical location?
Great question. I would say one thing that's not necessarily on our website, but we just started leaning into, is beyond just the goods you can buy on our website. We've done cross-branded goods with a number of corporate, nonprofit, and different small business partners. So things like our Whittier wallet or a business card holder, they can be cross-branded. So for smaller runs of 10 up to, we've done 2,000 of one good. We can put your logo on our coasters along with ours, so it can tell the story of impact to give us gifts, whether it's employee gifts, partners, customers. We have that capability. So we invite folks to email us at team, TEAM, at pingreedetroit.com if you are interested in learning more about cross-branded collaborations. And then we're also looking for stores across Michigan and honestly the country to have our goods. So right now we're in our 9 stores, and we'd love to be in double that by the end of the year. So if any folks have a favorite store, they can make a connection. It would be such a gift to connect with stores and individuals who might be interested in cross-branded goods.
That email, team at pingreedetroit.com. Team at pingreedetroit.com. Their website, of course, pingreedetroit.com for more information. Jarrett, thank you so much for being with us.
It's such a gift as always. Happy Friday, everybody.
From the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crimevictim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find information about our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV, otherwise known as My. Joining us now from the Heidelberg Project in Detroit is the president and CEO of the organization, Jenenne Whitfield. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure having you on the program. For those that may not be familiar with the work that the Heidelberg Project does in Detroit, tell us about the organization, kind of its origin story, and the work that it's currently doing now in Detroit.
Well, the Heidelberg Project is an outdoor community art environment, one of a kind, located in the heart of an East Side neighborhood in Detroit. The way I describe the Heidelberg Project is imagine turning down a city block, and all of a sudden the street explodes with color, with found object art created in various vacant lots throughout the city block, and a few houses that are wildly decorated. For example, we have one known as the Polka Dot House or the Dottie Waddy House. We have another one known as the Number House, and then we have several smaller houses, like there's the Dog House, there's the Cathedral, and the idea really is to use art as a catalyst to bring hope, attention, and new economic vitality into a community. So that's what you would see when you enter Heidelberg Street. And as you continue to drive down the street, you're going to be introduced to our campus. We call it our campus, where it's our headquarters, and an artist guest house where we do exhibitions and where our staff resides. And I think the Heidelberg Project in Detroit is indicative of what Detroiters do, and that's innovate. And so you won't find anything like the Heidelberg Project in any other part of the country or the world. We are actively engaged in art and education. So we have programs in K through 12 schools. And we also have an artist in residency program where artists contribute to the natural site itself, but they also contribute to or contribute by through exhibitions within our indoor space. So yeah, that's the Heidelberg Project pretty much in a nutshell.
More information on the website, Heidelberg.org. That is Heidelberg.org. And they are also one of nearly 300 charities and nonprofits in the Metro Detroit area and in the city of Detroit that are supported by Shared Detroit, that platform online, shareddetroit.org, shareddetroit.org, or Heidelberg.org for more information on the Heidelberg Project. We're joined by President and CEO Jenenne Whitfield with us on the Michigan Megacast. And so where did this idea come from? Where did this concept, this project, and this city block that is being used as an art piece, as a visual medium, and as an outlet for Detroit to give its art identity a vision in the city and also to the greater world? Where did that vision come from? Where did this project begin? And really, why was this started?
Well, the Heidelberg Project is the brainchild of artist and founder Tyree Guyton, who actually grew up on Heidelberg Street. That Dottie Waddy house, for example, has been in his family since 1947. And let me just throw in this little fact, too. Very few people know this, but former White House correspondent Helen Thomas actually lived on Heidelberg Street. And the area and the community itself is rich. It's rich in that there's been several cultures that have inhabited this older East Side area of Detroit. So, the street name is named after, or the organization is named after the street, which is the Heidelberg Project on Heidelberg Street. And of course, that's a German name. But it is the brainchild of Tyree, who grew up on that street. And it's a real definition, I think, of community engagement, because there is no greater example of authentic community engagement than a man who was born and raised in that neighborhood on that street and continues to impact the community with art and installations. So that is how it started. And the way the artist describes it is that he looked outside his home 35 years ago and he saw blight. And blight had become a way of life for the people in the community. And he wanted to change that. And the way in which he went about doing that was the only way he knew how, which was through a paintbrush or with a paintbrush. And one house became two, and before you knew it, the street had exploded with a cacophony of color and art installations, but all made from found materials. And that's significant because what it demonstrates is that many times our communities can be discarded and people can be discarded. So the artist is picking up these things that have been discarded, dusting them off, adding color, and then you have this wonderful explosion.
We're joined by Jenenne Whitfield, the president and CEO of the Heidelberg Project, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Learn more information on their website, heidelberg.org. They have a number of different ways that you can get involved and a number of different programs also, including the Heidelberg Arts Leadership Academy that really focuses on engaging youth in the city of Detroit and giving them an extracurricular opportunity that engages them in their education, engages them in their city, in their home, and also engages their mind and lets them develop not only their identity, but the identity of Detroit as well over time. Tell us about this Leadership Academy and the kind of different programs that are available through this that enrich the lives of kids in Detroit.
Well, we've had art programs for children from the very beginning of the Heidelberg Project, and it's interesting to see how many of those kids are now in their 30s. But currently, our Heidelberg Arts and Leadership Academy works with K through 12, but primarily we work with middle school and mostly high school students. And the idea is to expose children. Well, first of all, let me just take a step back and say, one statistic that we're not really, we don't really think about is the lack of preparation when kids graduate high school and they go to college. It's like a shock, and it's like a great gulf in between those two things. So one of the programs that we're doing is career preparation, and we're exposing children or young people to ideas of careers in many fields, and not all of those fields mean they have to go to college. Of course, we encourage that, but there's also different trades and different things like that. So what we do is we expose them to various people that are working in various fields of the art, in addition to the art and creativity on Heidelberg Street. And then we try to match them up with an individual that's working in that particular field and give them some exposure and real life experience. So they do internships in addition to their learning with the Heidelberg Project. It's a little tough right now because of the pandemic in school, but I think that what we're experiencing and having the kids come to our headquarters and working with a smaller number, but we're still having a great impact. We've impacted over, 300, 700, 1,000 kids probably by now.
And not only are you engaging these kids through these programs directly, but also through the classroom. What sort of options are available for educators to include the Heidelberg Project in their curriculum and help engage students in the classroom as well?
Well, first of all, we have a wonderful children's book that we wrote, and there's 2 children's books: Magic Trash, which is amazingly and wildly popular, and then You're at Nut Yug, which is actually Tyree Guyton's name scrambled, and it is his alter ego. It's a true story of him when he was a kid at about 12 years old. So these books are online and available. And we also have an educator's kit online where teachers can, download materials and share our work and what we have done and integrate it into their curriculum, which is also amazing. I mean, I'm talking about we have tapped into schools around the world, not just around the country. And this is these are the tools that we try to equip teachers with so that they can develop their own curriculums, and many of them have. It's really it's exciting that there's so much learning to be done, and not just on the K through 12 level, also on the collegiate level. We have taught different aspects or perspectives of our work, the Heidelberg Project, which again is an original to Detroit. And so art is a social practice, and the whole concept behind creative placemaking. All of that is coming through the Heidelberg Project after 35 years.
We're joined by Jenenne Whitfield, the president and CEO of the Heidelberg Project, a Share Detroit-supported charity and nonprofit, joining us on the Megacast. More information in a couple of places. ShareDetroit.org is where you can go to find a lot of information on the organization and direct ways that you can help them at this time, and also learn more about their programs and help them and get involved as well by going to their website, Heidelberg.org. We're joined by Jenenne Whitfield, the president and CEO of the Heidelberg Project, on the Michigan Megacast. So tell us about Heidelberg 3.0 and how people can support the efforts as your organization continues to develop over time, supporting financially, but also through volunteerism and other ways.
Yeah, so, it's funny. People think we're a lot bigger in terms of our internal staff than we are. We're 6 staff, but we have a host of volunteers and supporters that help us accomplish a lot of the work that we do. The concept behind Heidelberg 3.0 really is very simple. It is the transformation of an arts installation created by one man into an arts community that is activated by many. So when you think about it in general, you're really talking about how the Heidelberg Project is now starting to transition into a real arts community, not just being in a community, but also impacted by artists. For example, we have one of our most recent artists in residence is a woman who wraps trees, and it's just so beautiful. The residents and the way in which artists are integrated into the Heidelberg Project has to make sense. It has to be a contribution. And as they're contributing, they're also engaging with the community, learning from the community, giving to the community. So you can go to Heidelberg and see art installations now created by different artists. So we are, in fact, in that process of engaging with a different artist. I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. I gotta turn it over.
So all that information is on their website at Heidelberg.org if you'd like to learn more information. Please continue.
So the idea is that you can see installations now on the site that are created by more than just Tyree Guyton. And that's the way we want it. We had to fight for this, though. And I want to say that true innovation takes time. And so this whole idea of now Tyree decreasing as more artists are increasing is also timely because the artist is getting older, right? But then so he's looking and facing his own mortality and looking at how he's going to pass the baton. But I think the greatest piece that helps define Heidelberg 3.0 is, if you know our history, we have had to fight for this organization. We have been twice destroyed by our own city in 91 and again in 99, and then we suffered 12 fires. So the idea of becoming part of Detroit's cultural fabric came in November of 2021, when the city of Detroit, after all these years, recognized the Heidelberg Project as part of the cultural fabric of the city of Detroit. So to me, that's another great indicator how 3.0 can really start to take off now. And obviously we want to build more. We want to bring in more artists, but we also need to build our staff. So, financial support is really critical to our growth at this particular time. But that is how 3.0 is defined, is really now moving away from the vision, never really moving away, acknowledging, respecting it, but also gifting it to the community and letting it really become this community anchor.
Jenenne, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
More information about the Heidelberg Project on the website heidelberg.org or by visiting sharedetroit.org. Big thank you to everybody that joined us on today's edition of the program. All of these interviews will be on our website later on today, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Big thank you to our crew as well for making this program possible and helping us on and off the air each and every day. On My Michigan TV, coming up next, it's Steve Leto Live, followed by Larry and Maddie Live at 1 p.m. We will return Wednesday morning with more Megacast at 10 a.m.